A Belgian politician calling Nweke joins us now via Skype to discuss more on this. Many thanks for joining us. Now, what does Nigeria stand to gain from this visit, especially with regards to cultural diplomatic ties with France?
Thank you so very much for having me. Indeed, Nigeria stands to gain a lot from the trip of President Buhari. But at the same time, France stands to gain a lot as well. We are looking at a situation of mutual benefit. Now, going specifically to the issue of cultural diplomacy, you will agree with me that Nigeria's immediate neighbors are all Francophone countries, former colonies of France. And so I think if the president is able to agree in principle some support mechanism whereby the study and the learning of French in Nigerian schools, even up beginning from the primary school, is encouraged, I believe that that would be a very, very important, very strategic benefit for Nigeria, not only in terms of, empowering us to play more active role internationally, because French is, an international language, but it also helps us to live, better, with our neighbors. Also, in terms of commerce, it enhances, doing business when they can understand us and we can understand them. And in terms of cultural exchange between schools in Nigeria and schools in France, I mean, these are all items, that stand to be, of mutual benefit to both countries.
All right, Collins, if we have to take it from the perspective of security, how will this meeting boost regional peace efforts on the African continent?
Yes. As we know, Nigeria is the immediate priority of Nigeria now is to, put the Boko Haram out of business. And we know very well, too, that Nigeria, our foreign policy trust at this moment is, and has always been so for a very, very long time, is, playing a leadership role in the African sub-region, beginning with our immediate neighbors. So President Buhari has actually shown some leadership because if we recall, his first major foreign policy move was within the week of his inauguration. He visited, one of the neighboring African countries. I mean, that speaks volume. Now, France is known to play very, very important role in Africa in terms of facilitating peace and security. And so, if his, counterpart in France, Mr. Hollande, is able to commit to some military support, I believe that Nigeria will stand to gain very much from that. And of course France too, because we live in a globalized environment now whereby a problem in Africa can no longer be considered by Europeans as a problem far from their bed. I mean, over the last several weeks, we've been discussing the issues of, refugees crisis here in Europe. Now, if we're able, as European public figures, if we're able to nip some of these problems from the board, then we will not begin to deal with a refugee crisis that is threatening the very foundation of our, solidarity mechanism. So yes, France will play a very important role in that area.
All right, now, what is the indication of this visit for Nigeria's foreign policy?
Well, I do not know, for a start, that there is any fundamental departure from, our main foreign policy trust, from the moment we became, independent, became a nation state, which is concentrating on regional diplomacy, providing leadership within the African context, and indeed choosing our strategic partners and, trying to ensure that we maintain a good relationship with them. I believe, like I said earlier on, that in fostering that good neighborliness with our immediate neighbors, and also meeting, one of the major points of the president's manifesto in terms of fostering regional integration in Africa to the point of a common currency within the ECOWAS region by 2020. I believe that some of these issues that he will be tackling, both diplomatic, both trade, and both security, will all eventually, melt down to, making Nigeria achieve its foreign policy objective, which is regional integration and prosperity for both our neighbors, but also, by extension, our strategic partners out here in Europe, France being one of them.
All right, U.S., France now, and even Britain and Israel and other countries of the world have pledged to support Nigeria in the fight against Boko Haram. Now, how can all of these efforts be unified so they don't run at cross purposes?
Well, very, very important and very good question, because I think the time has come now to move beyond words, to move beyond, expression of good intentions or making commitments. The time has come to actually put some flesh to some of these skeletons that have been built over the past, several months, running to a couple of years. Now, how that could happen, I believe should be one of the, main objectives of the president's visit. Take, for example, the military operation in Chad. Well, my expectation, I do not want to speculate, or neither am I privy to what the arrangements are, but I believe that a joint operation, whether or not led by France, is a very, very, important one. Important because even if it's being led by France, but the ultimate goal is for Chad and the Nigerian military personnel to be to be empowered, their capacities built up or upgraded, so that over time, they will be able to take charge. I believe that's a very good one. And then other European countries, the United States, and so on and so forth, either contributing, boots on the ground or other help in kind. Why not in cash as well? These are all very, very important. And let's not make any mistake about this. This is about watching our back while we watch your back. Because like I said earlier on, anyone who sees this purely from the perspective of this is all in the best interest of Nigeria, I think the person is, living in the last century.
All right, Collins, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC News right now.